jump into we're going to continue our breakdown of OU's spring roster. And these are my favorite days because I really don't have to do much. I just kind of sit back and let you cook. I don't know a ton about defensive back play. Now, I know more than most, I would say, but there are a lot of guys that are jockeying to try to get snaps on the field at corner and safety. We're not going to talk about Cheetah. Remember, we broke down Cheetah in our episode where we did linebackers and cheetahs. If you missed that one, you can go find it. But let's start with corners. And this is probably the easiest way to get this conversation going. You've been out to multiple spring practices. You pay way more attention to corners than I do. Who has stood out to you?
I think corner, I guess I should say this just in general. I think our secondary is probably the deepest couple of positions on the entire team, corner and safety.
I agree with that.
I think we've got really good, healthy competition. I think we've got a good mix of veteran players and young, highly recruited players that are coming in and pushing for some of those spots. I think it's really, really healthy what's going on. Woody Washington, who's just been stellar for Oklahoma, he's back. It's hard to find him out there because he's changed numbers. Everyone has changed numbers, and every number is duplicated, so it can be difficult. But Woody Washington looks good, just like you would expect. He's gone from being the young, explosive, athletic kid to really the veteran of the group, and you can tell that his experience is there. He's just way more comfortable, and it's funny, and it's not just corner, it's really all positions. The better you get, the slower you play, which you end up playing way faster, if that makes sense. You're just more calm, you're patient, you're under control. Smooth is fast, and that's what Woody Washington looks like right now.
Yeah, so don't be confused, ladies and gentlemen, when you go to the spring game. Woody Washington now wearing number 5.
Mm-hmm.
So he was 0 the last couple years. Now he is 5. Billy Bowman, who was 5 last year, is now number 2. And those are 2 guys you're going to want to know because I think they're the most consistent guys in the secondary.
Yeah.
So they're both going to play at a high level, but don't get them mixed up. I know it can be a little confusing.
There's a really good chance that a bunch of people come out of the spring game saying, hey, Bowman looked good at corner. I didn't know they were going to move him, but he looked good over there at corner. Yeah, I think Woody Washington's looked good, and we know what we're going to get from him in the run game. He's a physical player. He'll come up and pop you. He'll tackle well. So I think Woody Washington's he's grown into the player that we hoped he would, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I think the thing that stood out to me about Woody going out to spring practice, and I want to give Jay Valai some credit. He really challenged him last season about, with the physicality of playing the position. And you think about the physicality of playing corner, you're like, okay, you're physical in coverage, right? But Valai was on him about getting off blocks and not just getting guys to the ground as a tackler, but really, really physically imposing yourself when you are in those situations as a tackler. And I think Woody Washington has taken that to heart, and he's undoubtedly, like, you watch him engage with wide receivers, like he's come a long way with using his hands, getting off blocks, and then making plays as a tackler.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And, look for them to use him in some different areas as a weapon. Cat blitzes on the short side of the field off the corner position, or, getting a corner and safety involved, maybe in a run play. So, yeah, I think Woody he's primed to have the best season of his career, which is what we need.
Completely agree. I feel like Woody's got one of the corner spots locked down, and then the other corner spot is a bit up in the air, man. Who do you think the major candidates are for that other corner spot?
Well, you've got Jaden Davis, who played quite a bit last year. You got Kendall Dolby, who is the junior college transfer, who's played really well. You've got Panay Walker, who's, maybe the biggest and most physical guy out there, but I think he's a little bit behind in some of the experience, maybe, or
And
just understand the defense.
He's had some trouble staying healthy.
Yeah. The guy that I'm really excited about, and I don't know, maybe the coaches saw this coming, but the early arrival, Josiah Wagoner out of Washington State, is a baller. Every time he's out there, I don't know what he looks like in just pure one-on-ones and what his bust ratio is, or how many mental mistakes he's having out there. It's hard to keep up with all that stuff when you're just out for a practice here and there, but the dude makes plays. He makes plays. He's batting balls. He's intercepting passes. He's making physical tackles out on the perimeter. He's a guy that finds the action. And, as a early arrival, corner's one of the positions we always talk about, that if you got it, you got it. There's not a whole lot of mental stuff there. You can go out and play. He's got it. So I think he's clearly in the dogfight. I would say probably Jaden Davis, Kendall Dolby, and Josiah Wagoner would probably be my 1, 2, 3. But there's still other guys in there getting in the mix.
Yeah. Gentry Williams, that situation, right, with the scary situation that happened at the end of winter workouts, they've just really eased him back into things. So I think Gentry is more than capable of challenging for a lot of snaps on the field at one of the corner spots. It's just, it seems like that's going to be a bit of a process, right? They're just being extra cautious with that entire situation. But the thing about Josiah Wagoner is it's not just you, man. Like, everybody that has been out there that's been able to see, some of these scrimmage snaps or see them do team stuff towards the end of practice, everybody brings him up. He is one of the talks of spring practice. And I get that he's new, so it's kind of at the top of mind for coaches, for different people. But if you make plays, I don't care how old you are, man.
Yeah.
I do not care.
They're not just like routine plays. They're wild plays. The first practice I went out to in a team move the ball period, in 3 consecutive plays, he chased a receiver all the way across the field on a scramble drill and made a diving pass breakup. The very next play, they ran a swing to a running back who tried to run over him on the perimeter, and he decleated the running back. And then I think the next play in the series, he made an interception, 1, 2, 3. And that was after everyone I had, been there, and everyone was talking about him before that practice. So he's making all kinds of plays out there, and wow plays. He's a hitter. He's aggressive. That's what you want.
I think that the word that keeps coming up in conversations about Josiah Wagoner is instincts.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got a great feel for what's going on.
That's a great place to start. It's hard to be, there's guys that are good athletes that become technically proficient and then try to get the instinct part. It's better to have the instincts right away and then become technically proficient. And it's a really good way to be ahead of the curve, and he clearly is.
Yeah. And looking at Jaden Davis, it's just the guy's got to stay healthy, right? Now he's not going to get any taller. He's not the longest corner, but it's all about confidence for him. Like when the confidence is there, I feel like he plays at a decently high level. But Kendall Dolby's a guy I've been impressed with when I've been out there. I mean, he's certainly played himself into the mix of being a starter. And, one of the scrimmages I was out there for, he was rolling with the ones.
Yeah.
So I think that I expect Dolby and Davis to be to be the main guys at that other corner position, but you have to assume with what Wagoner has shown throughout spring ball that they're going to want to throw him out there for snaps.
Yeah.
Just because he's just showed so much already that I can't imagine he's one of those guys that they're only playing 4 games. Now, hey, you never know with how the redshirt rules work, but yeah, that other corner spot, man, that's going to be extremely competitive. And if Kenai Walker can ever play as good as he looks, then things get even more interesting. So
Big dude.
yeah, it's a big dude. But you got anything else on the corners?
No, I would just say, like, right now, I would expect Woody Washington to be our lockdown guy, and I would expect at the other spot that we see multiple players throughout the season. I
Yeah,
think we're gonna have multiple corners play a lot of meaningful snaps. I think there's going to be a good, healthy rotation at corner.
yeah, I'm with you. It seems like that's how it's going to play out. All right, let's move to the safeties, which I don't know if there's a position with better competition on this entire football team. I'm excited about the talent level. I'm excited about the depth. I'm excited about how much these guys seem to care, like the leadership roles that they are embracing on the team. But where's the conversation start with at safety for you, Ted?
Billy Bowman. Billy Bowman. He's, you know, safety. I think Billy Bowman is one of the best, maybe the best safety in the Big 12. But sometimes at safety, it won't appear that way if you're not getting solid play in front of you. Like safety, you generally play in alleys, right? If you're run support, you know where your fit is. Like the ball's supposed to come here. And then, yeah, you're going to break off and go make a play wherever it ends up being. Same thing in the passing game. You're going to run the middle of the field. You're going to run a half field. You're going to come down and replace and play a flat. Like you have to have good, solid play around you to really be able to stick out as a safety. If you don't get good, solid play, then you're the one that looks like an ass all the time because you're trying to make a tackle on a wide open running back that is out of the gate. He's bearing down on you. He outweighs you by 20 pounds, and you've got all this space, and you either get run over or, you try and go up and make a physical play, get shook. And that's because all of the players around you have not played as well. My hope is that we get a lot better play by the other 10. And if that's the case, Billy Bowman has at least an all-conference type of season. He's explosive. He's violent. He is quick. He's got good top-end speed. He's got great instincts. He's just an all-around really good football player. He's an experienced guy coming in now. He's still technically, I guess you could say he's still young, but he's got a lot of football that he's played at several different positions. And I think he's not just one of the most athletically gifted guys out there. He's also one of the smartest.
Yeah. And he looks fantastic.
He does.
Up to about 195?
Yeah.
And
And it's a lean 195.
Yeah. He is looking the part now. And not only do I feel like he's the best player in the secondary. And if everyone else does their job, like you're saying, he's got a chance to be the best player on the team.
Yeah.
Maybe I just keep that conversation to the defense. Like he's got that type of athleticism, explosiveness, instincts, like all of that stuff, football intelligence. I am my expectations for him after what I've seen in spring ball, like they are sky high.
Yeah.
For what he's going to do during the season.
I agree. I totally agree. I don't see any limit to what he's going to be capable other than, Can we get a good pass rush? Can we fit the runs like we're supposed to? Can we get lined up in underneath coverage to where we're not trying play after play exposing our guys on the back end? That's the only thing that I see that would keep him from having just a huge season.
I feel like it's very similar to the conversation we had about Woody Washington having one of the corner spots locked down. It feels like Bart, you just unless he gets injured, right? Billy Bowman's going to be out there as one of the safeties. What do you think about the other spot?
The other spot is interesting. Key Lawrence, I think, is got to be the leader in the clubhouse right now. RSJ, Robert Spears-Jennings, was playing a lot. Has had the shoulder issues. Going, I guess, missed the rest of spring, but he's going to be back in the competition in the fall. Big, physical, good-looking safety back there. Key Lawrence he's grown a lot. He's grown a lot. He's a little bit different player than he was a year or 2 years ago. He's another guy that feels all of a sudden like he's the old vet out there. He's talking, he's chirping at the backers on where to adjust and where to get lined up. You don't have to ask him to communicate. He's constantly talking out there, which is good. We know he's got good size and athleticism for the position. And this is not directed at him. It's really just a general basic rule of thumb at safety. You got to continue to become better tacklers. Better tacklers know when to make the physical play, know when to, get run over, but make the drag down tackle, the safe tackle. I think that if he cleans up tackling, I think mentally he's way ahead of where he was for last season. So like the floor with Key Lawrence has come way up with the type of play you're going to get from him. And I think he's got enough athleticism, good physical traits that he can continue to take the ceiling higher. That's who the leader in the clubhouse is right now. Reggie Pearson, transfer from Tech, I think is probably going to be the utility type of guy at the safety position. I think he'll be able, just because his experienced as he is, be able to play both safety spots. Also play cheetah if you need him to. And, he gives you some good depth there. Like to me, the wild card is, what are you going to get out of Peyton Bowen? He's the 5-star early arrival, and, I haven't seen a whole lot of him personally, but it's one of those things where if there's not much difference between he and maybe Key Lawrence or whoever's starting to gain those snaps in front of him, do you just roll with the youngster now that you've got an experienced guy like Billy Bowman out there at the other safety spot? Because those two work in tandem on everything that they do. It makes it a little easier to play a guy as young as Peyton Bowen.
Yeah, and when I saw him out there, he looks like a 5-star safety.
Yeah.
The suddenness, the explosiveness. Now, of course, missed quite a bit of spring ball with that tragic situation with his sister, but he looks like he's going to be a special player. Now, and you know this very well, safety in that defense is a challenging position mentally, but it seems like his football IQ is really, really good. So I could see him being one of those guys where you're, week 4, week 5, and all of a sudden you start seeing him playing some more snaps out there, them working him in, like as he gets more comfortable and more comfortable. He's so talented. It's hard to think that he's not going to be out there in some capacity at some point in the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And, he's also, they've given him some time at Cheetah as well. And that's another guy that I didn't mention is Justin Harrington. Justin Harrington is, he's looking like he's going to be the starting Cheetah, but he plays safety as well in some of their other packages. So You know, whenever you start to get in some of your bigger things, like your true 3-man stuff, where you could be dropping 8, they could be moving Justin Harrington around a little bit out there as well. And he's an option for you should injury become a problem or something, and you lose a couple of guys back there. So yeah, I mean, when Robert Spears-Jennings gets back, hopefully everything goes good with his shoulder surgery. You got a deep group, man. You got a deep group, competitive. We're slowly getting bigger and more athletic back there, which is good. Now, I know Bowman is, what's he listed at, 5'10", 5'11"? It does, that size, you don't even notice it at all, as good as he looks in pads. So yeah, I think we're in a good spot.
Yeah, and I mean, we haven't mentioned Damon Harmon, Jaden Rowe, Makari Vickers early enrollee. He looks the part.
Yep.
Like they got all kinds of guys that you walk out there and you go, oh, he looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that? He looks good. And it's all about those guys developing into football players, right? There's more to this thing than looking the part.
Yep.
So I do think the secondary as a whole, and I know that everything you do as a secondary is dependent on what's going on in front of you in that front 7. But it really does feel like with the talent level, with the depth, with, the consistency you're going to get from guys like Woody Washington and Billy Bowman, it feels like this could be the strength of the defense. But the other guys have to play at a high level, or else, just like any other secondary, doesn't really matter how talented you are. If you got to cover for 4 or 5 seconds, bad things are going to happen.
Yep. You got to have a pass rush. You got to be able to stop the run and get into predictable situations, force the offense into predictable situations. If they're chewing up yards in the running game, constantly have the entire playbook at their availability, it's going to be a difficult day on anyone.
Yeah.